Good day. It's December 9, 2024. Trump's cabinet picks continue to create negative reactions from many in Washington and around the country, with three critical cabinet nominees are described by political observers and members of Congress as putting the wrong people to lead government agencies. I'm Joe Buban. Welcome to The Pulse.
And I'm Marivelle Villanueva, sitting in for Sam Buban. Welcome to The Pulse.
Last week, we mentioned to you the top three nominees of Trump is creating a pushback from both Democrats and Republicans in the Senate. Pete Hegseth, a Fox News commentator, to head the Defense Department. Kash Patel to lead the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Pete Hegseth, for Defense Secretary, is not doing well in the Senate confirmation hearings, but Donald Trump announced he has backup nominee in case Pete Hegseth confirmation crumbles, and that is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has military experience. Another nominee that is getting a lot of negative reaction is Trump's nominee for Secretary of the Navy, a businessman named John Phelan, who has no military experience. His nomination is already raising concerns in Congress and in the military establishment, according to multiple sources. John Phelan is an investment banker, the founder of an investment firm named Rugger Management LLC, and a donor to Trump's campaign. Why is there a Secretary of the Navy while there is already a Secretary of Defense? Just for an understanding of many of you who are watching us from abroad, the Defense Secretary is the overall civilian boss of the major armed services, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. But it is also mandated by American law that each of the branches of the armed services must have a civilian boss. That is why there is the Secretary of the Army, Secretary of the Navy, Secretary of the Air Force, who Congress deals with for budgetary and oversight matters, and as advisors to the Secretary of Defense. The President also appoints the Undersecretary of the Armed Services. In fact, President Joe Biden had appointed a Filipino-American as Undersecretary of the Air Force, Gina Ortiz Jones, who was born in Virginia to an Ilocano mother from Pangasinan. Gina Ortiz Jones was a military intelligence officer who came close to becoming the first U.S. Congress member of Filipino descent when she ran for Congress in Texas' 23rd Congressional District in 2020 as a Democrat, losing only by a 4% margin. President Joe Biden appointed her as Undersecretary of the Air Force in 2021. Back to Trump's nominee, Dr. Nemeth Oz, the Republican who ran for Senate in 2022 but lost, a TV personality, and a physician who sells non-pharmaceutical health products on TV, is Trump's pick to lead the CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The same pick is raising eyebrows among many in Congress and in the health industry. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services administers the funds of the national healthcare system in the U.S. This massive funds that powers the healthcare industry is believed to be 1/6 the size of the U.S. economy.
The final numbers of House Representatives for the 119th Congress, which will commence on January 3rd, will be 220 Republicans and 215 Democrats. It takes 218 to take control as the majority party. California State Assemblyman Adam Gray, a Democrat from Merced, California, was declared winner to represent California's 13th congressional district, winning by only 187 votes against incumbent John Duarte, a Republican. Adam Gray and Derek Tran of California's 45th congressional district are the last two to be declared winner and are going to Congress as freshmen. The Republican majority is seen as the slimmest margin between two parties since the Great Depression election in the late 1930s. The Republicans are only 3 votes majority in passing a bill. They can only afford 3 defectors during a vote on the House floor. It is also believed by many in the House of Representatives that Speaker Mike Johnson will have trouble keeping his seat as Speaker of the House, with some of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy loyalists in the House voting against Mike Johnson at the first challenge opportunity. We're going to take a commercial break. Please stay with us.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
From the Telly Award-winning creator of Love and Karma, Legacy, and Ultra Feminist. Underneath the bright neon lights of Sin City, where fortunes are won and lost in an instant, and the truth can be a bit hazy. Join Elena, a hard-working single mother, her hot-headed son Miguel, and Gabriel, a Filipino pop star on the brink of international stardom, as they embark on a journey of self-discovery, love, and the courage to find one's voice and speak the truth. Made to Shine, coming soon. Presented by FilAmTV Network. Written and directed by Giovanni Espiritu.
To keep updated or for more information, visit filmtv.us/made-to-shine or scan the QR code to be added to the email list for updates and upcoming opportunities to be part of the show. Executive produced by Sam Buban and Esmeralda Padilla Gould.
Welcome back to the polls. President Joe Biden had officially pardoned his son Hunter Biden for the crimes he was found guilty of and other potential additional charges that Republican members of Congress would pressure the Justice Department to pursue. President Biden, who in earlier months said that he will not pardon his son nor interfere with the legal system, had a change of heart and offered a very good explanation for the pardoning of Hunter Biden. The president explained that no reasonable person in America would believe that Hunter's action of lying on a form during the purchase of a gun when he was on drugs would warrant an extensive investigation and prosecution. That Hunter was singled out because the Republicans in Congress wanted to destroy the president.
As the Democratic majority in the Senate is winding down, the U.S. Senate had confirmed at least 20 judicial appointments of President Biden. Nevada Senators Jackie Rosen and Catherine Cortez Masto both voted yes on 20 appointments to the federal courts of President Biden's nominee. Republicans will take control of the Senate come January after winning 3 Senate seats that flipped the upper chamber to their control for the 119th Congress. In the state of Nevada scene, the Nevada Secretary of State, Cisco Aguilar, admitted he was frustrated with the slow pace of ballot counting in this year's election. According to a report by the Nevada Independent newspaper, Aguilar was considering working with the legislature to determine ways to speed up the counting of ballots. In an interview, the Secretary of State, who is in charge of elections in the state, said that many of the ballot counting difficulties likely stems from staffing levels at Clark County and Washoe County, despite efforts by both counties this year to accelerate ballot processing. The situation was also contributed by the fact that a batch of 54,000 mail-in ballots were dropped off at election sites on Election Day. But on the bright side of this, the public should be happy that all votes were counted. In the City of North Las Vegas election for City Council Ward 2, the winner, Ruth Garcia Anderson, only won by 8 votes against Robert Twix Taylor.
Still in our Nevada news, Las Vegas has a new city mayor. Former Congresswoman Shelley Berkley is back to public life as the new mayor for the city of Las Vegas. In the state legislature in Carson City, Nevada, the Democrats still control the state assembly and the state senate.
The only Filipino-American in the state legislature, Erica Masca, will be returning to the state assembly after winning her re-election. What is noteworthy is that Nevada legislature is composed mostly by current and former public school teachers in both chambers of the state legislature. One of the newcomers is Democrat Hanadi Nadim, who is an immigrant from Pakistan. The State Board of Regents for the State Higher Education, an elected board, will finally have a Filipino-American. Public school teacher Aaron Bautista won in the election and will serve for 4 years. In California, Jessica Caloza, a Filipina who immigrated from the Philippines as a child to Eagle Rock, California, a district of Los Angeles, won the bid for the state assembly. She was Deputy Chief of Staff at California Department of Justice. She also served in the U.S. Department of Education under the Obama administration.
Let's take a look on how some of the states are reacting to Donald Trump's planned mass deportations. These sanctuary states already have some plan in place or are planning a move to counter the mass deportations by the Trump administration, which could become disruptive to their communities and its economy. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom had publicly told Donald Trump to leave California alone on the issue of mass arrests and mass deportation of illegal aliens. A recent attempt to push back against the Trump administration's policy, a report from Axios Media, State Attorney General Rob Bonta, who first introduced the guidance 6 years ago, issued the updated protocols on Wednesday, while speaking at Bernal Heights Library in San Francisco to what he describes are President-elect Trump's inhumane threats of mass arrests and detention and deportations. Rob Bonta said that California will remain a beacon of progress. San Francisco and Los Angeles are sanctuary cities that has sanctuary laws that limits cooperation with U.S. immigration and customs enforcement.
California has an estimated 1.8 million of undocumented immigrants, and that big chunk of workforce contributes significantly to the state's economy. The agricultural, construction, and manufacturing industries are often supported by undocumented immigrants, not simply as a source of cheap labor, but as a dependable and readily available workforce to address labor shortages. Contrary to the president-elect's assertion during the campaign that undocumented immigrants are criminals, many of these individuals take on jobs that Americans are unwilling to perform. Despite claims from right-wing media that they are taking American jobs, these roles often involve essential but labor-intensive tasks such as agricultural work, yard maintenance, housekeeping, providing compassionate care as nannies, or tending to the elderly with dedication and patience. We're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
From the Telly Award-winning creator of Love and Karma, Legacy, and Ultra Feminist. Underneath the bright neon lights of Sin City, where fortunes are won and lost in an instant, and the truth can be a bit hazy. Join Elena, a hardworking single mother, her hot-headed son Miguel, and Gabriel, a Filipino pop star on the brink of international stardom, as they embark on a journey of self-discovery, love, and the courage to find one's voice and speak the truth. Made to Shine, coming soon, presented by FilAmTV Network, written and directed by Giovanni Espiritu.
To keep updated or for more information, visit filamtv.us/made to shine or scan the QR code to be added to the email list for updates and upcoming opportunities to be part of the show. Executive produced by Sam Buban and Esmeralda Padilla Gould.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Russia vetoes a UN Security Council resolution calling for a ceasefire in Sudan. In a report from Al Jazeera, as Sudan continues to struggle with a murderous conflict that has displaced millions of people and sparked a humanitarian crisis, Russia has rejected a United Nations Security Council resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire in the country. All parties involved in the conflict in Sudan were urged to immediately cease hostilities and begin negotiations on a national ceasefire by the resolution, which was written by Sierra Leone and the United Kingdom. British Foreign Secretary David Lammy described Russia's vote against the measure as mean, nasty, and cynical, since it was the only member of the 15-member council to do so on Monday morning. A single nation obstructed the council's ability to speak with a unified voice. Following the vote, Lammy declared the one country is the blocker. David Lammy continues by saying, "How many more women must be sexually assaulted? How many more Sudanese must be slaughtered? And how many more children must die hungry before Russia takes action?" Russia will now have to defend itself in front of the full UN membership. In order to urgently agree on a national ceasefire, the draft resolution on Monday urged the parties to the conflict to immediately cease hostilities and engage in good faith in dialogue to agree steps to de-escalate the conflict. Among other things, it urged them to hold talks in order to agree to humanitarian pauses, guarantee the safe movement of civilians, and provide sufficient humanitarian aid. Moscow agreed that the conflict in Sudan requires a swift resolution, and the only way to achieve this is for the warring parties to agree to a ceasefire, according to Russia's deputy ambassador to the UN, who spoke to the council following the decision. Although the UNSC's job is to assist the warring parties in doing so, Dmitry Polyansky stated that this should not be done by imposing upon the Sudanese, through a council decision, the opinion of its individual members, according to the Armed Conflict Location Event Data Project, a conflict monitoring organization. Since the start of the war, at least 20,178 individuals have died. However, a recent investigation by the Sudan Research Group at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine revealed that over 60,000 individuals had died, suggesting that the death toll may be far higher.
After lawmakers reject military control, the president of South Korea lifts the martial law declaration. As reported by the Associated Press, following a dramatic night in which troops surrounded Parliament and MPs voted to reject military control, the South Korea president bowed to political pressure and removed martial law that he had imposed on the nation hours earlier on Wednesday. As he fights against opponents who control Parliament and whom he accuses of having sympathies with Communist North Korea, President Yoon Suk-yeol, who seemed likely to be impeached for his actions, declared martial law late Tuesday in retaliation against the opposition and vowed to eradicate anti-state forces. After the bipartisan decision to overrule the president, police and military troops were observed leaving the parliament grounds, and the declaration was formally withdrawn during a cabinet meeting at 4:30 a.m. After martial law was proclaimed, Parliament moved quickly, with National Assembly Speaker Woon Won-shik stating that parliamentarians will protect democracy with the people and that the law was invalid. Martial law lasted almost 6 hours in total. The opposition and the head of Yoon's own Conservative Party swiftly condemned the president's unexpected action, which harked back to an authoritarian era the nation has not experienced since the 1980s. The Liberal Democratic Party, which controls the majority in the 300-seat parliament, is led by Lee Jae-myung. He stated that the party's lawmakers will stay in the assembly's main chamber until Yoon formally revoked his directive. Woo praised the troops' prompt departure from the assembly following the vote. Our citizens have undoubtedly watched today's events and witnessed the maturity of our military despite our regrettable memories of military takeovers, Woo stated. Under South Korea's constitution, the president can declare martial law during wartime, warlike situations, or other comparable national emergency states that require the use of military force to maintain peace and order. It was questionable whether South Korea is currently in such a state. Yoon is now likely to be impeached, which was a possibility before his audacious action, according to Seiler.
After the opposition takes control of a large portion of Aleppo, Syrian and Russian jets intensify their attacks on rebel fighters. In response to the surprise attack that has lost the dictatorial regime control of Aleppo, the country's second largest city, Syrian and Russian jets are increasing their strikes on rebel fighters in northern Syria, according to reports from CNN. The rebel alliance has also taken control of a significant military post east of Aleppo, as well as a sizable portions of the provinces of Aleppo and Idlib as the result of the offensive. It has encountered minimal opposition from government forces on the ground, and it coincides with the fact that Russia and Iran, Syria's main supporters, are preoccupied with their own wars. Rescue organizations and human rights organizations say that Syrian army airstrikes in recent days have killed dozens of civilians and caused displacement in areas affected by the conflict. According to the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, which cited local health officials, combat in the northwest between November 26 and December 1, which killed at least 44 civilians in Idlib and northern Aleppo and injured 162 others. It stated that around 48,500 people have been displaced in Idlib and northern Aleppo as of November 30th. All parties have been asked by the UN to respect international law. Adam Abdelmoula, the organization's humanitarian coordinator for Syria, issued a dire warning, saying that the Syrian people must not endure more suffering. The U.S. State Department, meanwhile, called for a political settlement to end the protracted civil conflict and advocated de-escalation on Monday. Since Russian air power helped undo insurgent gains in the civil conflict, the rebels' overwhelming triumph has presented President Bashar al-Assad with his greatest obstacle in 8 years. The newly established rebel alliance, identifying itself as the Military Operations Command, has taken control of strategic locations throughout Aleppo, including the airport, where CNN-confirmed footage revealed rebels wearing camouflage inside the main terminal.
We will leave it at that for today's edition. Please join us again next week. I'm Marivelle Villanueva, thanking you for watching The Pulse.
And I'm Joe Buban. Thank you, and God bless your week. Happy holidays.
From the Telly Award-winning creator of Love and Karma, Legacy, and Ultra Feminist. Underneath the bright neon lights of Sin City, where fortunes are won and lost in an instant, and the truth can be a bit hazy. Join Elena, a hardworking single mother, her hot-headed son Miguel, and Gabriel, a Filipino pop star on the brink of international stardom, as they embark on a journey of self-discovery, love, and the courage to find one's voice and speak the truth. Made to Shine, coming soon, presented by FilAmTV Network, written and directed by Giovanni Espiritu.
To keep updated or for more information, visit filmtv.us/made to shine or scan the QR code to be added to the email list for updates and upcoming opportunities to be part of the show. Executive produced by Sam Buban and Esmeralda Padilla Gould.